Good morning, everybody. I'm Elanie Beckett. I'm my soul yoga Veda, joining Change Creator for our 21 days of taking care of ourselves, getting through these 21 days, making it work for us and getting our lives into a better place. So as Sandy mentioned, I do the health section, and this week specifically we are focusing more than anything on our mental health. I spent the majority of last week speaking about our physical health, our nutrition, how to eat for our bodies. I've explained doshas to you. So if you missed that, go and refer back to last week's talk. You'll find that here on the Change Creator SA page or on the page for Om My Soul Yoga Veda. So let's continue where we left off last time we spoke, and that was with the concept of creating space in our minds, creating order in our mental space so that we have more free space that we can allocate to creativity, to the birthing of new ideas, to putting long stagnant plans into action. And the very first step that we discussed was to make a decision. So I hope that you guys took this time over the weekend to really just think about what your possessions mean in your life, what your environment is like, who you're surrounding yourself with, and how that is helping you grow and become the person that you want to be. We've started speaking specifically about decluttering. We can use the term minimalism, but minimalism can have a bit of a negative connotation. So let me redefine that for you. Minimalism, in the sense that I want to be sharing the concept with you, simply means removing from your life the things that do not serve you, removing from your space, your physical surroundings, the things that are not contributing towards the life that you need to or want to create for yourself in the long term. So the first step was to make a decision whether or not this is something that you want to do for yourself. And then if you've decided that you would like to have more space in your mind, space in your life for better things to come in, that you're going to embark on this journey with me. So let's call today day one. We can make the decision making day zero. So let's make today day one, and today is going to be the day that we focus on planning. Planning can be such a daunting word. A lot of people, when they think planning, they think this means that I have to create a to-do list. I want to break it down even further than that, because doing lists and all of these big things that we already have so much to cope with in this lockdown. A lot of us simply don't have the space in our minds to even do that. So what I want you guys to start thinking about doing, or to do, spend an hour today, half an hour, spend some time today on the following planning. Plan who you want to be. Create a vision for yourself. Plan, or rather let's create a vision of the life that you see yourself living 5 years, 10 years. I give you permission to dream. Let's make that our planning exercise, is a little bit of dreaming. Who do you want to be? Who are the kind of people that you want in your life? What do you want your career to look like? What do you want your relationships to look like? What do you want your role or your stature in society to be? What is your ideal vision of fulfilling your biggest purpose? We have this blessed time now that we're not obligated, most of us, to sit behind a desk in an office. We can work from home, or some of us might not be working at all. So we really have this freedom right now to start visualizing that if anything was possible, and money, time, fear was not an option, who would you be? What would you be? What would bring you joy and fulfillment? And this might be something that you've pushed out of your mind in your school days. Maybe you wanted to be a vet and now you're an accountant. Maybe you wanted to be a farmer and now you're a teacher. Maybe you wanted to be a pilot or an astronaut, and something inside you still wants that. You have permission today to wake up that little whisper in the far back reaches of your mind and listen to what it's saying. So do that today. Plan if you could have any life that you wanted. How would that life look? What would it be? Who would you be? What would you look like? What would your health be like? All right, so I'm going to pose a couple of questions and I want you to write them down. So take the time to take notes and write down these questions, and then take the time to really answer them. What is standing in your way right now? What is standing in the way of, remember we spoke about yesterday, my take going from I should to I must to I will. For instance, if I wanted to be, I must live a healthy, active life, I will live a healthy, active life. What is standing in the way of that? So what is the thing that you want to change most in your circumstances? And answer the question, what is standing in your way? Is it, Stanley was speaking about reasons or excuses last week. Is it money? Is it time? Is it family or your support system not being there? Is your environment not right? What's standing in your way? Next question, question 2. When did I give so much meaning to my possessions? We're talking specifically about decluttering because we're taking the time for that. So start thinking about what I spoke in the last time you saw me, what we spoke about, how we define ourselves by the size of our house, the model of our car, the brand of our clothes. When did I become so attached to these labels, and when did these things start having a meaning to me? Maybe it was in my childhood that my parents always wanted to keep up with the Joneses. Maybe it was when you were in college. Maybe you were a young adult in a prestigious workplace, or maybe you went through a time that was really hard for you, and these things became important to you because they made you feel valuable, surrounding yourselves by valuable physical, material possessions. So when did this take on such a big role in your life? Now answer this very important. What is truly important in my life? Is it my children? Is it my education? Is it my career? Is it my free time? Is it friends? Is it family? Is it relationships? Is it living a purpose? Is it a service that I'm providing to society, or whatever it may be? What is the one thing, or 2 things, or 5 things that you really value, and what makes those things valuable to you? Write down also, how do these things bring you joy? Not material things. Well, if it is a material thing, if you find that you have a material thing, for instance, your house or your car, whatever it is that is really important to you, write down why this thing is important. Last time we spoke, I told you about a blanket that I'd given up or discovered to be my most valued possession. And I asked myself the same question. Why is this thing so important to me? And the reason my blanket was important to me was because every pet I ever had from the age of 14 shared that blanket with me. I mourned my father's death, crying myself to sleep on that blanket. I've huddled under that blanket because it was huge with my children. I've raised my babies in that blanket. So that's why a simple thing like a blanket held so much meaning for me. So find a thing, a material thing, or other things, like for now, the time that you're spending with family, that you hold the most important, and write down why you value those so much. Big important question, why am I discontented? We feel ourselves in a space where we so often feel, I want more time. Our first thought when we wake up is, oh, I didn't get enough sleep. So we find ourselves constantly in a space of lack. So why are you discontented? Is it because, well, I'm not even going to give you suggestions for answers. I've given you enough suggestions. Find your places in your life where you feel discontented and ask yourself why. What needs to change for me to feel contentment as opposed to discontent? Now the next question, I've mentioned it earlier, who do I want to become? Do I want to be a better mother? Do I want to be an educator? Do I want to be a person who supports people emotionally, like a therapist? Do I want to be a nature person? Do I want to be a healer? Do I want to be more spiritual? If you knew nobody else, if you could be reborn onto a brand new planet where all things were possible and all people were possible, who would you be? Your ideal vision of yourself. Draw a full picture of that, as many details. You can write your physical appearance, you could write how you would dress. A lot of us dress corporate because we have to, when in fact we'd rather just walk around in our fast sandals and a sarong. So really, write down who you would be if you could be absolutely anything in the world. And next important question, how do I define my success? We touched on it earlier. Is it by the amount of friends I have, the amount of hits on my website, my sales, the amount of people who leave me reviews, my friends, my family? What defines your success to you personally? Different people measure success by very, very many different instruments. But what do you measure your success by? Your physical success as well as emotionally, the kind of person that you are. How happy am I? How content am I in my life? The emotional issues. How do you measure your success mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. And last question, how will my life improve if I own fewer things, less stuff? Maybe today you don't have an answer. Maybe today you feel that your life will not improve if you own less, because a lot of us already don't own a lot of things. A lot of us own things that we don't even know that we own, that come out of the back of the cupboard every time you move house. So if your answer is that no, my life will not improve by owning less things, that's fine. There's no right or wrong answers. We're starting with self-discovery. And today's planning session is planning, who do I want to be? If today, while you're doing this exercise, you feel that you do want to be a person who is surrounded by more stuff, that's also fine. So write that down, but be honest. This is a journey I'm taking you on, small baby steps. We do little exercises every single day, and whatever resonates with you, go with it. The first answer that pops in your head, write that down. We're going to delve a lot deeper during the course of the next 20 days or so, and ultimately discover what will bring you the best mental health, put you in the best emotional space that you could possibly be. So there's your homework for today, and I will see you a little bit later tonight. I'm going to make a very naughty, rich, creamy, cheesy dish on Oh My Soul Yoga Veda. So maybe you want to join me for the creation of that lovely. Because I'm talk about mental health while I'm doing the cooking, I will be speaking to you about nutrition, and I'll be speaking about how food works in our bodies, how to obtain health through our lifestyle. All right, so I will see you tonight, hopefully, and tomorrow morning, back to yoga. We've had enough laziness now. See you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock on Oh My Soul Yoga Veda for our easy yoga session. Thank you for joining.